If y'all want to get excited tonight, the videos were great. Those are young people that were in our care that are just making the most out of life right now because you guys have helped prop them up and help them become what they are becoming. But a young man that's going to come up here right now is just, not only is he probably one of the best looking young whippersnappers that I know, but let's just give a warm welcome to Tranard.
Hey everybody, Tranard here, and just want to tell you guys a little bit about my journey, just kind of like where I started from and like to where I'm at now. And so with that being, when I was 8 years old, me and my brother, we were kind of from the ghetto, we were in poverty, and my mom was just kind of like, she had me when she was 16 years old, and which is crazy to think about. It's like, how do you even take care of like a kid when you're 16, and her parents, they weren't really there, so it was kind of like this cycle where it was like, I was the next person to be in this cycle, and she was really struggling with herself, like finding out who she was, and she was partying, she was drinking, she was smoking, she was in and out of jail, and I'm a kid, I was 8 years old, and my brother is 1 year younger than me. And just one night, we were at the house, and we lived with my great grandmother and my mom. And my mom would be there, here and there. She would be here. She would hang out with us for 3 days, and then she would leave for 2 weeks. And that was my normal. It was this is just something that happens, And randomly one night, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. There was cops that showed up at our house, and we didn't know what was happening. And these people, they just grabbed us and threw us in this car, and they drove us to this facility. And I'm just with me. It was me and my brother the entire time, and we were I had no idea what was happening. And they took us to this shelter home. I mean, it was a shelter, but you could just tell the people that were working there was just they were there for a paycheck, and it wasn't they were building foundation with these kids. There was no structure being formed with these kids. And it was just oh, we're just gonna feed these kids and give them a place to sleep, which is a terrible thing, And for me, I'm also speaking from what I know now, and as an 8-year-old who was put in that situation, and I understand how the world works now, unfortunately. And you can just tell those workers, they were burnt out, they were underpaid, and it's just they had nothing. There's no value being given them. They weren't getting any value out of it. And so that place didn't end up working out. We were transitioning from shelter home back to my grandmother. My grandmother, she was a diabetic, and she tried to take care of us. She did her best to take care of us, and she went to the hospital, and it wasn't looking good for her. She ended up staying in the hospital for months at a time, and we finally, after that had happened, we went back into another group home, and we ended up in Place of Hope. And it's funny because, I used to talk so much trash about my house parents. They would make me do all these things. I would come home from school sometimes, and I would have no homework, nothing to do. My house parents, Jenny and Travis, they saved my life. And they were do you have any homework? You need to do things. I'm no, I don't have any homework. And that was a sign to them, oh my God, he's going to this school and they think he's just gonna be another statistic, another kid that's just gonna be a dropout, go to jail or anything like that. And so for 2 years straight, they homeschooled me. And I didn't understand why. I was this sucks. Why am I the only one freaking doing homework, I'm this sucks, I have to read, I have to do math, and again, speaking from what I know now, when I was 12, I'm dude, they saved my life, dude. It's I can't ever repay that back, And I was so broken, I was stuck in this this mental process where I was these people don't love me, they're just doing this, and I'm gonna get taken away and moved to somewhere else. And for 5.5 years, these people, they were 26 and 28 years old when I was living in Place of Hope. And I'm 27 now, and I can imagine taking care of 6 kids in my position. and just like, you know, building them up for like, to live independently and become a part of society and like be better and want better. And like, you could just tell, right? Like, it took me a while to get to that point because they weren't in it for the money. You know, I could call those people right now and like, if I was ever like, you know, my last dollar, like nothing, like there's not a doubt in my mind where I could call them and be like, hey, like Jenny and Travis, like I need help, and they get to work like right away, you know. Same with Charles, same with Jamie, same with Miss Gina, Miss Shannon. You know, I feel like I just could call them no matter what, and they'd be right there just being like, we got you. You know, that was something that I had never experienced. And I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. Like, you guys don't even know me, you know, I'm so broken, I'm beat up, you know. And throughout that time, when I was in Place of Hope, you know, my awesome family, which I didn't know at the time, they asked me to spend the night. My brother, my white brother, I have 2 brothers now. So, and this kid asked me, he's like, yo, you want to come hang out with me? And I'm like, I guess. You know, I don't really know you that well. But he asked me to hang out, and I was like, yeah. And, you know, from there, it was kind of just like, you know, my parents are like, oh, you know, we want to adopt you. How do you feel about that? And it was like, I know them like my whole life. It was like, why, like, where were you guys at? Why did you guys take so long, you know? And so, and yeah, obviously it wasn't an easy transition for me, but you know, there are people that I can count on, and it's like, man. And for so long, like again, I was stuck in this mental state where it was like, it's okay to accept love. Like it's okay, like for good things to happen to you. And like it took me so long to like turn that switch back on because I was like stuck in survival mode for so long. And just through these past 10 years, this is crazy. You know, I feel like I came out of her womb. You know, and you know, my mom, you know, she wasn't so easy on me. You know, she was never like, oh, it's okay, you know, she would smack me in the back of the head a couple times, you know, when I needed it, and then, you know, I was like, oh, Mom, why, you know, but it's just another sign of love, you know, she loves me, you know, even through all the hard times, the bad times, and the good times, and, you know, I just recently graduated college, and it's been like a long time coming for me, so, yeah, I graduated from UCF, and I honestly thought that, like, I was never gonna be in that position. And like Beatrice said in the video, only 3% of like foster kids graduate from college, and I was just like, you know, I actually went, I was like, man, I was so scared because they were doing they didn't have a walk, they were just doing like a video of names, and like I was told like I was like overly stimulated. I was like, oh, they're gonna say my name, and like they were going through the names, and like I forgot that obviously my last name changed, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like short 1 credit, you know? I was like, no, you know? And my name went by, and my mom was like, whoo, like just started screaming, going crazy. You know, she called me on the phone, my dad called me on the phone, my girlfriend was with me. And I was just so blessed, you know, it was so awesome. And like, I like felt like this just sign of like relief, you know, because it was like I said, I was in and out, ups and downs, and like I just kind of just kept trucking. My parents were there the entire way. They're like, we love you no matter what, like we're here to support you, and like we'll be there forever, you know, my beautiful mom. So yeah, so right now where I'm at, I'm in Orlando still, and I'm a behavioral therapist for kids with autism, and like I said, for school, like it was never like, I wanted to graduate, but I was so close to dropping out and just giving up. My parents were there with me the entire time. They're like, you know, you're gonna be working with kids, and like I realized like I'm not gonna be counting numbers all day at like a finance office. And like the moment I changed like my mentality where I was like, I need to like be working with kids and giving back, I'm like, oh crap, like I'm gonna go get my master's now. You know, I'm like, I never even considered that. I was like, I hate homework, you know, there's times where I legit like would wake up at 3 in the morning, I'm like, oh my God, I missed my exam. You know? And it happened like a couple times, so I was like, I'm never going back to school. But now I'm actually gonna start applying for my master's degree next year. And yeah, that's pretty much my story, and I came a long way, and you know, Place of Hope, like, oh my goodness, this place is like, they're always like, they have their hand in something. They're always looking for the next thing, you know, whether it's, you know, single mothers, like the human trafficking, you know, kids after they age out. And like, I had no idea what I was gonna do. You know, obviously I got adopted, but I feel like if I didn't get adopted, I would still have so much support from these guys. And like, I wouldn't have a worry in the world. Like, they wouldn't be there to help me and guide me and like build more confidence and more structure into me. So I really appreciate all you guys coming out and just supporting Place of Hope. And it's just awesome that you guys are here. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
So I don't know how you follow that. Yes, please. So I don't know how you follow that, but I am going to ask Mom, Holly, take a bow.